how fast would you be able to scale your info business, coaching business, if AI could replace 80% of your daily tasks? How fast would you be able to scale, right? Instead of hiring a team and doing it the slow way, the old way, let's call it that way. Because we're getting into 2026 now. It's the 6th of December as I'm recording this video, so we're almost in 2026. And we have to approach things a different way. We're not in that info gold rush era anymore, right? Where you could just turn on a random funnel and print some money easily. That is not real anymore. We're past that, unfortunately. But there's still ways and advantages that actually we have and we can leverage now going into the next year. Biggest one of them obviously being AI. Because if you're in that 10K spot, right, where you wanna scale, right, you really have two ways, right? You either hire a team, which is slow and expensive and also very difficult to manage, is gonna eat up a lot of your time. And then sure, you find good people, a good team, you build it the right way, you manage it the right way, of course you'll be able to scale, right? I'm not saying that you can't. I'm just saying that not only you scale your revenue, but you also scale, more importantly, your operations, your complexity, and you have something they have to manage that's 10 times more difficult and more time consuming to manage than, when you were on your own doing 10K a month. So can we scale past 10K a month without all that stress? Well, the answer is yes, but we have to leverage AI. I'm not talking about, you prompting random shit in ChatGPT and, oh, look, I'm using AI. It doesn't work like that. We have to build real systems, real AI systems that actually replace team members, right? So I'm talking about agents, I'm talking about workflows that, once you build, they're done. You don't have to necessarily maintain it as you were to maintain a team member. And of course, it's going to be way cheaper and way faster because AI can just work nonstop, right? So we have to leverage real AI systems. And realistically, you can replace 80%, if not more, of the daily tasks that you have in your info business. I'm talking even like content creation. Sure, you have to still put your face on it, but you can make it so highly leveraged that you're going to be able to create better content faster, put it out on a bigger scale without the team. How crazy is that, right? So ultimately, this will allow you to scale faster and avoid hiring a team, which, if you don't want to build with that complexity, that can be a nightmare. So we're talking about a very lean, simple, 20 to 30K a month profit business and maximum time freedom. I'm talking working 1 or 2 days a week, right? Does that sound bad? I don't know. It sounds pretty good to me. Like if you're not into necessarily building a complex, big business, I would call this the freelancing coaching model, right? Where you're basically on your own, working with clients, making good money, have a lot of time freedom, and you can do whatever the hell you want. You can go to Bali, sip cocktails, and whatever you want to do. So really, traditionally we had really just one way, which was to hire a team, increase operations, increase complexity, and that would, of course, lead you to make more money. But the new way is that we can now leverage an AI growth engine, something you can build and set and forget, that will allow you to just, predictably scale with no team. Now, let me show you a bit how this looks like in terms of operations, right? There is also, by the way, a third, chill, stay here. There is also a third way of doing this, which is that, of course, you can do everything yourself, right? So you can just work 12 hours a day, every day, take no time off, work on everything on your own. But that is just not sustainable, right? Over time, that's not going to be sustainable, and it will lead to burnout, basically, right? So you'll still have all the limitations, but you have all the cons too. Like you have less profit and less time freedom because you're trying to scale on your own. So really, this is the option that going into 2026 is the only one worth looking at, in my opinion. Again, unless you want to build $1 million a month coaching business, well, that's a whole different thing. And by the way, you'll still use a lot of AI growth, maybe in combination with a team or just more complex operations. But we're not going to talk about that. So the real thing that you have to work on right now is to automate all your systems. You got to look at all the tasks, everything that you're doing in your business. You want to list them, whether that's content, whether that's traffic. Let's maybe put a color in this, because there you go. Content, traffic, so client acquisition, delivery, service delivery for your clients. List all your tasks and then automate them. See what you can automate and see what you can replace with AI, and find a way to do that. Now that can be on your own, learning, studying, all the AI tools, technology. But of course, if you don't want to do that, there's people that will do that for you. I can help you build all this because that's what I've done for my own coaching business. So, there's a link in the description. You can talk to me if you want, and we can see if I can help you, put all this into leverage and implement it just done for you. So you can check that out if you want. Or again, you can learn on this on your own. Now, this is really what will get you the scale results that you're looking for, again, without the complexity, right? And by the way, this typically works a lot faster than hire a team, because to set up an automation to do a task is way quicker than bringing in a team member, find it, train it, and, make him do the thing that so that can take way more time. So now that we have our AI growth engine in place, well, that's really where we have the basis for a lean scaling operation, right? So again, no team, time freedom, and making sure that you have everything ready that will support you for, the bigger profits. Now, what are some of the other advantages of having an AI growth engine in place? Well, first of all, 24/7 operation, because AI doesn't sleep, right? You can have your agents, you can have your systems work for you 24/7. So you're never gonna miss leads. Nothing will slip through the cracks, and you have something that's as reliable as it possibly can be, right? And once you have your systems that work the right way, they just work. They typically, unless you're doing something wrong, there's not gonna be any bugs or things that go wrong. At least, in my experience working, more than a year with everything automated with AI, things tend to not break, right? If you set them in simple ways, in ways that are effective, and, that's very reliable. Of course, you have way more, you have a much bigger capacity to predict what's going to happen. Like your lead flow, your appointment booking flow, all of that is going to be way more reliable and predictable than if you were to use a team member for that. I'm going to give you an easy example. If you're doing coaching, actually, let me phrase this way. If you're doing coaching, you have most likely an appointment setter right now, right? Someone who is living in your inbox, sending messages to everybody, trying to set calls. Now, this is a person. So first of all, you're limited because this guy can only work, a limited number of hours. The performance will change based on, whatever is going on in his life, because obviously it's a person. So even the most skilled setter will have up and downs, right? If you have an AI setter, so if you replace this with AI, you have literally the most reliable appointment setter you can possibly have. No time off, no fluctuation in performance. So you can predict a lot better your flow of calls in your calendar and therefore your sales, and just have a way more systematic way of scaling your operation. And then of course, AI will always continue to advance. So these systems, will change over the years, and you have to, always learn and see what's going on in order to, make sure that you keep your systems as up to date as possible and as efficient as possible. But that's obviously a given. That is for anything, even like for any business, things change rapidly. Yeah, so this is basically, how it looks like. Again, this will give you the most rapid and leveraged way possible to scale. And again, all these systems will give you just the automation that you need to keep it that way, keep it lean, keep it, profitable, and again, have your time, right? Which is very important. And obviously it's cost efficient because it's just, AI. How much can you possibly spend on software? It's going to be always cheaper than, a team member. So yeah, ask yourself this: how fast could you be able to scale if AI replaced 80% of your tasks? That's the question that you need to answer. Well, first of all, ask yourself, and then answer, come up with a solution. Once again, if you need some help with implementing these systems, you can talk to me. There's a link in the description, no strings attached. Totally chill. We can see if I can just implement all this for you so that you don't have to do anything. And yeah, if not, stick around, because there's going to be a lot more content related to how to scale with AI on this channel. So if you have, an info offer, a coaching business, this might be very helpful for you. All right, let me know what you think in the comments if you like these videos, and yeah, talk to you soon.